with the Guardian Film Awards, we wanted to put our readers at the heart of them, and we wanted to approach the awards process from the perspective of filmgoers. We wanted to talk about films in the way that people talk about them when they've gone to see them. They discuss things like best scene, best line.
I love being part of the Guardian Film Awards. What I love about it is the best film includes films in a foreign language, so it's not separated, it's just like, right, I'm going to the cinema, what is the one film, the best film of the year?
I really hope that these awards act as an antidote as opposed to an addition to the already very, very crowded movie awards calendar. It was a really interesting category here. There was a lot of great standout scenes. What we were looking for was really a sequence that was sort of mimetic of the whole movie. So for best scene, what finally won was the first party sequence in The Great Beauty. It's a pulsating rooftop rave full of middle-aged people getting down, doing the conga, absolutely smacked out of their faces.
It's a brilliant introduction to the character of Jep Gambardella, who's played brilliantly by Tony Servillo in the movie. In this frenetic action and these ageing, incredible-looking Romans, suddenly the camera focuses in on him and you realise this movie will be about Jep and what this incredibly superficial-looking world really means and whether it really has substance or not.
Gravity was an extraordinary game changer. People are talking about Frame Store all over the world. They're going, oh yeah, it was made in a basement in London.
I'm spinning! Can't breathe!
If we see those big old blockbusters coming up next summer, everyone will go, was it as good as Gravity? Did it take you out there? It just felt like you were watching something that was totally next level. It felt like the ride of your life.
So Cannes has won our Best Film Festival category, and indeed it was also, as well as the judges' choice, it was the public's choice, which is really incredibly interesting because it's the only one of the 10 on the long list that is not in fact open to the public. It really speaks of what a festival should be, at least in the public's eyes and indeed in our eyes, which is a great showcase for cinema and for the whole razzle-dazzle of film.
We gave the best line of dialogue to Liberace, played by Michael Douglas, in Steven Soderbergh's Behind the Candelabra.
What a story. I mean, you got everything but a fire in the orphanage.
The significance of that line isn't simply that it's funny or ironic, but that almost by accident it refers to their emotional situation. As a classic kind of seducer, he's putting his cards on the table. He's saying, you know, you are a poor boy, oh my goodness, what a terrible story, you are vulnerable, you need to be looked after, and hey, what about me? I can look after you. But he's doing it as a sort of joke, and that's what's so clever subconsciously in the line.
I think it would have been quite easy to give this award just to the movie that made the most money at the box office this year, and you might say, well, that's a measure of a successful marketing campaign.
They said that you had abandoned him as a baby.
I did not abandon my child.
PHILOMENA's won for the best marketing campaign because, well, you look at it, you see that Steve Coogan and Philomena Lee have gone off and they've met the Pope, and the Pope is engaged with this issue in the real world. It might sound a bit cynical to describe that as a marketing campaign, but it certainly helped generate conversation around the film, and the film itself, for a really small budget movie, has been a topic of conversation around the country since its release.
I'm getting the royal treatment, Martin. I feel like the Pope.
We were talking about what makes a fabulous supporting role, and she does it so well because she's not, it's all about me, but you can't take your eyes off her.
There's Woody's little sister, Rose. She was only 19 when she was killed in a car wreck near Wausau. What a whore. Mom. No, I liked Rose, but my God, she was a slut.
You'll never forget June Squibb's performance in Nebraska.
For outstanding contribution, we gave the veteran and brilliant independent producer Jeremy Thomas the award. He's made a a huge spread of films. He made the great rock and roll Swindle. He made Bad Timing with Nick Roeg. He made The Last Emperor with Bernardo Bertolucci. Dangerous Method with David Cronenberg, starring Michael Fassbender. Only Lovers Left Alive with Tilda Swinton and Tom Hiddleston, directed by Jim Jarmusch. He's very unparochial as a filmmaker with marvellous breadth of sensibilities. He's the sort of guy we need.
Tip big, boys. Tip big because you get good service, and they count on tips. You know, someday, when you come into great wealth, you must remember to be generous.
Mom said you used to be okay, but you got crazy. Yeah, and then you talked to yourself.
We gave the Best Actor award to Cate Blanchett for her role in Blue Jasmine, the Woody Allen film, and it's a movie that she completely carries.
It was almost like a theatrical performance, but transferred to the cinema screen, a performance delivered to row Z of the cinema.
Anxiety, nightmares, and a nervous breakdown. There's only so many traumas a person can withstand till they take to the streets and start screaming.
A complex character, very vulnerable, but witty, attractive at the same time. She's a real true creation.
I was born a free man, lived with my family in New York.
Be good for your mother.
Till the day I was deceived.
To Solomon.
Kidnapped, sold into slavery.
I think it was a pretty unanimous choice to choose Steve McQueen, partly because it's such a beautiful looking film, so well made, but I think also the fact that Hollywood hasn't dealt with this subject well, and it's required an outsider to come and make arguably the first really important, searing film about this subject.
That's scripture. The condition of your laborers, it's all wrong.
They're my property.
You say that with pride.
I say it as fact.
Speak!
Man does how he pleases with his property.
You come here.
I say come here!
The confidence of the camera work almost counterpoised the terrible things that were happening within the frame. It was just a stunning assurance of eye, of direction and of storytelling.
I want to live.
It's incredibly exciting that on the shortlist itself we've had 2 foreign language films, The Great Beauty and Blue is the Warmest Colour, and 1 documentary, The Act of Killing. It speaks volumes about the extent to which film-going audiences like The Guardian readers can engage with film.
The Act of Killing is one of the best films I've ever seen. It was just an extraordinary film, totally original, and something that will stay with you.
It's a film that on The Guardian we've championed right from its real premiere in Toronto nearly 2 years ago.
It was telling you something about a period of history, the 60s in Indonesia, which is largely glossed over by a lot of people in the Western media. I mean, it's not a Friday night movie. It's not, going out for a laugh, going to see this movie. It's a movie to watch and to think about and to really ponder.
One of the things written on the criteria is which film would you recommend the most? And I feel very strongly that people see 12 Years and, there are things that you want people to see, but The Act of Killing is the one that I would book you a ticket for. Everybody should see this one.
Now we're getting closer. All these years wondering whether Anthony was in trouble or in prison or goodness knows where.
Dame Judi Dench has won the inaugural Guardian Film Awards Lifetime Achievement Award. I can't think of a worthier recipient.
And now, of course, in Philomena, she's really shown what a remarkable actor she is.
What if he was a drug addict, Martin? Or what if he was obese?
What on earth makes you think he'd be obese?
Because of the size of the portions.
I mean, her performance in Philomena is the heart and soul of that film. I'm embarrassed that she wasn't on the acting shortlist. It's a performance that breaks your heart, that propels the whole thing.
I met him.
Where?
At the White House.
Did you remember anything he said?
Hello.
Hello. Hello.
Might have been hi.
Oh, Martin.
She became a star, in a way, in later life, which is a really interesting career trajectory for her. She's shown such enormous capacity as an actor, and it's a thrill to be able to give this award to her.